Statistics Canada has released a new snapshot of marijuana use since legalization, and the result is that not much has changed, according to the agency. About 4.6 million Canadians, or 15% of people ages 15 or older, reported using cannabis in the past 3 months. That's the exact same number as reported before legalization. Meanwhile, a cannabis research firm has also found Canada's legalization debut to be somewhat lackluster. Initially, it had estimated the market would grow to $8 billion US by 2021. This week, though, that estimate fell to $5 billion based on some observations the firm made. The managing director of that firm is Bethany Gomez. The firm is Brightfield Group. She joins me now via Skype from Chicago. Hi, Ms. Gomez. Great to see you. Thank you for your time.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So that is a big change in the estimate. What accounts for it?
Absolutely. Now, it's not very surprising to anyone who's been watching the rollout of the recreational market that the first few months have been somewhat challenging. That's typical in a cannabis market. When it first comes online, it takes a while for supply to catch up, for the new dispensaries to open. What's been really surprising about the Canadian market is how much the medical market has actually decelerated. Now, in 2016 or to 2017, the market grew by 142%. That fell to only 30% last year. And that's with the recreational market being online for really only 2.5 months. Now, that's really surprising, as the Canadian market really hasn't hit that saturation point in terms of the number of medical patients that you would expect from looking at other similar markets in the United States. In Colorado and in Oregon, for example, the medical patients as a percentage of the overall population made it up to 2%. In Canada, that's really only at 1%. And with medical growth stagnating, that increase in patient count stagnating, then that is really eating into that overall market.
So is the reason, is the reason that it's stagnating because of the recreational market?
So the recreational market is an impact, but really only 40% of Canadian cannabis consumers are purchasing through this new recreational market. Now, when a new recreational market comes online, it is expected that there will be a deceleration in medical, that it will be eventually lead to patient declines. It's not the rapid drop-off, and it's very unusual for it to drop off even before a recreational market opens. So what we're seeing is that, even in anticipation of a recreational market opening, those medical patient counts really declined. They really decelerated in growth. People decided to wait for a recreational market, but are really having really lackluster opinions of the recreational market once it's been open.
And I want to ask you, I just want to ask you about the conclusions that your group drew on that. The takeaway was that 60% of the 1,500 cannabis users you surveyed said they had basically not bothered purchasing from a legal source.
Exactly. So only 40% have purchased through the recreational market so far. Now, 15% they said they had no interest at all in purchasing through the recreational market, period. Another 45% said they were waiting for the confusion to clear out. Now, that does give, a strong indication that there is potential growth for the recreational market once it gets these kinks worked out, once those dispensaries are all up and running, once supply is meeting demand. However, with the product types that are available in Canada right now, with it being limited to only cannabis flower and oils, these product types are not attracting new consumers. They're not attracting the consumer groups that, have made this market so prevalent in the United States. Those, baby boomers, the moms, women, working professionals. What we're finding is also the pricing concerns are keeping those lower income Canadian cannabis consumers out of the market. So there's really, the consumer groups that are going towards the recreational market right now are those consumers that have been using consistently throughout their lives. They are heavy cannabis consumers and do tend towards that more high income income group. And, that's really a relatively small percentage of the market overall.
I just want to note also that Statistics Canada studied the same thing. They noted the number was a bit smaller than yours. They said 42% of the users they surveyed were not purchasing from a legal source. Just a quick note on the point about what might drive the market up, and the idea of, I think you're referring to edibles, sort of like edibles and other products that aren't, that we're still waiting for in Canada. The regulations are currently being drawn up and implemented. Is that going to make a big difference, do you think?
It will absolutely make a difference, and how that is rolled out will really determine whether they can attract those, more occasional users, whether, people who don't want to smoke, who aren't interested in concentrates will be drawn into the market as well. In many U.S. states, cannabis is being seen as, an alternative, a wellness product that people can use occasionally, that people can use, for a wide variety of conditions or a wide variety of occasions. And, that will really drive, a significant portion of the market. But how well that can be communicated via attractive branding, messaging, as well as, strong product innovations is really going to determine the scale and size of this market.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Gomez. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.